Hi Church, Pastor Jeff here with another Trinity check-in. I'm coming to you from our memorial garden just outside of our worship space. If you don't know it, the Spirit Hall is right over this way. These are the doors that go into our gathering area. This is the bell that called us to worship from Warren's Chapel, where Trinity met before it even had a building and a sanctuary to call its own. A lot of churches actually use this same bell, and it's fortunate that we have it and an honor to have it as well. This garden has always been beautiful. Eric Nelson's the one who takes care of it and does very well with all of that. It's worth coming out to for the flowers. But of course the centerpiece of it now is the columbarium, and it itself is gorgeous. Now if you're not familiar, a columbarium is a place for cremated remains to be stored for eternity, or at least for the long run, right? So it's think of it like a cemetery, except it can hold more, and in the way that most people are handling their remains these days. This was put in fairly recently. We've had a team that's been working on it for a number of years, but we just had a milestone, and that is the first round of engraving. They came out, they actually engraved the marble, I think it is, on site, and it's beautiful. In fact, the letters are quite bold, more so than I thought they would. I think they will weather the test of time well. These ones here are, don't worry, these are people who have not passed yet. They're just preparing for their future. As you walk around, you'll see a few more that are engraved. Now we have 96 niches total, as they're called, and if that's something that interests you and you're at the stage of life where you're thinking about arrangements and making things easier on family, I hope you'll consider it, because Trinity and not just Trinity, our faith is such a part of who we are. And in a few minutes I'm going to share a little bit of theology about why I think it's good to have this as part of our church and as part of our worship space and as part of our grounds. Currently there is only one set of remains in the columbarium, and that is a char stock over here on this far side. And I'll tell you, this is my car out here. This is how I get into my office each day. And as I walk through, almost every time my eyes wander over to the columbaria, and I have a moment of just considering what it means. And that's part of what I wanted to share. Now, let me tell you, it is stinking hot in the sun, so I'm going to come over here into the shade for a minute. Sorry for a little more boring background. But I want to talk about why it's good and important to have a columbarium as part of a church, as part of a worship space. You know, it used to be a common thing for country churches, rural churches, to have a cemetery as part of their grounds, and as part of it, in order to get into the church, you would walk through the cemetery. And so if a family spent generations in the same place, that would mean that you would see your grandparents, your great-grandparents, those who came before you, the pioneers. And it meant that every time you worshiped, you would have that reminder, and it would be something that you would bring with you into worship. Now, I think a past me, a less mature me, now I still have some maturing to do, but even less mature me would have seen that as dark, would have seen that as depressing. It's like, oh, why would you want to think of death every time you come to church? Church is a happy thing. Well, yes, but church is also life, and church is also much more nuanced than that. And when you think about it, so is death. Death is always hard because of the grief that comes with it. I've known grief in my life, not as much as some of you, but perhaps more than some others. And it's hard, and you cannot deny the fact that grief is difficult, nor would you want to deny the fact that grief is difficult. But grief is also something that's always joined with joy. Because you wouldn't grieve if you didn't care for the person. You wouldn't grieve if you didn't have happy memories. And so oftentimes the sadness of the grief is paired with the joy that's in that memory as well. And well, you wouldn't want to deny that either. They simply go together. One of the lines that I think of is from, I should have looked this up. It's one of the hymns we sing at Lent, as with the season leading up to Easter. Joy and sorrow flow mingled down. It's talking about the blood flowing down Jesus' side on the cross. But joy and sorrow flow mingled down. It's both a life truth, but also a nuance that I think we need to be reminded of at times. But more than that, death is a reminder of resurrection. Death is a reminder that it's not the end, that Jesus came and promised us a future. And so there is something about walking through a church cemetery in the old days or a columbarium now and being reminded of that, of being reminded that there is always a future for us, even in our death. And being reminded of that every time we come to church, to me, adds a greater depth, a greater complexity to my worship, and a greater nuance for it. And I wanted to share that with you. If you're interested in a niche, I hope you'll think about it. We have some information on our website if you click in the right place, or you can contact us in the office. But I wanted to end with one of my favorite authors, N.T. Wright, Surprised by Hope. I literally based my dissertation on this book, and well, a little more than just this book, but this was the theology portion. This was the centerpiece of it. And there's a quote in it that I've always liked. Let's see if I can handle the camera and the book at the same time here. The quote is this: "There is something wonderful and profound about entering church through the churchyard where are buried those who worshiped there in centuries past." Now, I know there are those of you that park in the lower lot, the shared Village Gardens lot that's down the hill here, and I think that's a good thing to do, and I hope that more of you consider, because it eases up on our parking lot from that most park in. However, if you do, I hope when you walk in, when you walk up those steps, when you walk across the walk, and when you come into the church, I hope you take a moment to consider how good and how profound it is that when we worship, we are always surrounded by those who came before. Physical remains in the case of the columbarium, but even those close to us, those dear to us who died in faraway places, well, their spirits are always more closer than we know. And may this always be a reminder of just how good that is. See you soon, church.